have with us Sarah Scott
Yes.
from the Lummi Nation.
Oh, it's good to be here.
Okay, first.
I've never been on a live stream before, so.
Say
Hello.
hello. Okay, now, first of all, tell people, where is the Lummi Nation?
Lummi Nation is in Washington State, so like 2 hours north of Seattle, mostly. So north, so right by the border.
Near
Yeah.
Vancouver?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been to your casino.
Oh, Silver Reef.
I
Yes.
made a donation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Okay, tell us what got you involved with Unity? What attracted you to Unity?
Well, I was 16 years old and I had no idea what Unity was. I didn't know what Unity stood for. I was just I think I was a sophomore in high school or junior, I can't quite remember. And my mother brought me, and that's what it was. I got there and something just clicked with me. I heard Howard Rainier speak, talking about walking the red road, and at that point I was already flirting with drugs and alcohol. And after that, something clicked, and I was like, I identified myself with Chance Rush, Pearl Yellowman, Howard Rainier. I had all of these different tribal, these just motivational people, inspiring people. Inspirational, yeah. And that's what happened with me, and it just clicked, and I knew where I wanted to be, and Unity became my home.
And what are you doing now?
Now I'm the female co-president of the National Youth Council Executive Committee. So,
But other than that,
well, I'm a student, I'm a mother, I have a 3-year-old.
Where do you go to school?
At Northwest Indian College, so right there in Lummi.
At Lummi?
Yeah, so
awesome.
Right there on the reservation.
Tribal college, doing what it needs to do.
Climbing the ladder.
Keeping the young leaders at home. And that's great. What's boy or girl?
It's a boy.
Little boy?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Carson St. Gray.
All right, now I want to ask you something serious.
Yes.
And you're gonna find that you come in situations where, as co-president of Unity, that you're going to be. I hope, and because if you're co-president of Unity, then you've gone through a process where the other members and youth councils have elected you as co-president, as their spokesperson. And I don't know if you've given this a lot of thought. It's something that came up, and it's a tough subject, but what happened at Tulalip last Friday, and then how far is Tulalip High, or Tulalip Reservation?
It's about an hour and a half, maybe, a little less.
And so for you guys that don't know, last Friday on the Tulalip Reservation, a young man, a horrible act, and brought a gun to the school. It was at the reservation high school?
No, it's not a reservation.
Okay, it was just a high school that a lot of the Tulalip kids went to, and he opened fire. And the report I heard this morning was that the second student
Really, I haven't read the report.
Yeah, the second student who was in critical condition has died, and 3 others were still in critical condition. Anything to say as far as what might, because you never know when or where it's going to happen.
Yeah, you know.
But what are your thoughts? Because we're seeing more and more of it, and now it has reached maybe not tribal land,
close to home.
That's a good way to put it, close to home. So, what was your initial reaction when you heard that this had happened near Tulalip? And was it on the reservation? Was the school on the reservation?
No, it's not on the reservation. It's
right there.
It was devastating. Especially for me, it's close to home. I personally knew the boy, I know the family. They traveled with us to Unity. It's really close to home, and it's been really hard to deal with. I know a lot of my family members are taking it really hard. I know the sister, I know the family, and it's devastating to know that he was a part of the Unity Network. And that's where it really brought us together. And I know how cultural he was, and I'm acquaintance, that's what it is to him. So I'm more close to his family more than him. But just for me, it's just devastating because that's what really gets me going with Unity, and what it reminds me of why I do the things I do. It's because we are dealing with lives when we do Unity. And I always get emotional because it's so close to home. And really are dealing with young lives and there's suffering happening in our communities that we aren't addressing the way we should be. We should be doing more for our communities, and we see what happens.
And you know, I'm not telling you what to say or what to do, but you know, you're here with tribal leaders, and it seems like they have, you know, a lot of different issues. They got people pulling at them right and left. But you know, as a representative again of the largest youth network, native youth network in the country, you know, perhaps you can turn this grief and this tragedy into a way of getting their attention and saying, you know, we need more attention from tribal leaders, because if not, you know, you have even those all who still, you know, he might have had, I'm just speculating, but he might have had mental illness issues that we don't, you know, we don't have enough mental illness,
health,
you know,
health counselors, especially in the schools.
Right.
Our schools, that directly reflects back on our school districts and what we're doing for our students. And,
maybe you can turn this into something positive.
yeah, it really is. It's a wake-up call for a new country. What are we doing for our youth? I think one misconception is that we keep saying that our youth are the leaders of tomorrow. They're not. They're the leaders of today, and this is where we should be giving them our full attention if we want things to change. We really should be, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm a representative of my constituents.
Now I see, you know, we're really trying to cut through because, you know, as Harlan was mentioning earlier, you know, everyone has the iPhone now. Everyone's always, you know, using it. Social media, we've got Twitter, we've got Facebook, we've got all these, and you probably,
technology,
you know, all these apps now.
Yeah.
I see it as a double-edged sword. So what is the Unity Council doing to address this issue, to make people more aware of the pitfalls of social media? Because and this, you guys talk about it and how it can be used to benefit, and also how it can be used negatively.
I know it has been addressed in the past through our workshops, through our conferences, but recently I think now it's going to be more of an issue that we're going to try and address in our future events, especially at like our mid-year conference or national conference.
I mean,
especially in our own communities, like coming from, on behalf of my youth council and Lummi, so the Lummi Youth Council, I know that's something, we have unity days where we focus on different social issues in our communities.
Well, I think social media is
that's one right there in the root.
right in the middle. So.
Yeah, it is. So especially tying that into social media, how it works, how to be safe, how to, just all of that really.
Okay.
Something we want to focus on more.
Sarah
All
Scott,
right, nice to meet you.
co-president of the United National Indian Tribal Youth Council, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Let me know.
Yep.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Good
nice
luck.
to meet you.
You're going to be busy traveling.
very
So,
busy.
yeah. Thanks for joining us, Sarah. And hey, where are you going?
Where are you going, Brian?
Hey, you got to get in here. We got the other coach. He's trying to walk off, like he just he just wanted to just turn and walk off. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Brian Weeden,
Yes.
co-president.
Co-president.
From,
Co-president.
tell me where you're from again.
I'm from Mashpee, Massachusetts. I'm a member of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe.
Okay. And you guys have been involved. I think the Wampanoag started their first youth council when I was there. I remember we came, and you know, we'd always have the national conference in like Phoenix or Seattle or Oklahoma City or Denver. And I remember you guys saying, why don't you ever come up to the Northeast?
Yeah.
Right? And because you guys wanted to start building the network. So as the training coordinator, I remember, and this is probably, how old are you now?
22.
Okay, so you were just in diapers still.
Do you know Earl Mills?
I do know
Chief
Earl.
Mills.
That's
He's a good friend of mine.
That's my great uncle.
So this was about
He
90,
is.
this was about 93, 94. And so they wanted me to, they said, why don't you come up to the, well, okay, so we scheduled a conference in Providence, Rhode Island. And instead of having a collection of the people from the Northeast come, all the people from Phoenix and Denver and Seattle and Oklahoma, they all wanted to come to the Northeast. But the idea was to have these regional conferences, so the regional tribes would. But instead, everyone wanted to, because that was their only chance to really see the Atlantic Ocean. And they all teamed up with snowball fight against me. I was like 1 against 30, and I won. But tell me, how long have you been involved with Unity?
I've been involved with Unity for about 4 years now.
Okay. And what got you? Same question as I asked Sarah. What got you interested? What was the message that you saw? Did somebody push you toward it, or was it a combination of both? You liked the message that they were sending. You were being encouraged. But tell me how you really got started.
Our youth council kind of fell apart, and then the Wampanoag, who was our sister tribe over on Martha's Vineyard, they still had their youth council, and they were heavily involved in Unity and such. And Amira Madison, who was a former female co-president and served on the executive committee, really pushed me, and I started up our youth council again, worked on our new constitution and stuff, and was the chairperson up until I aged out. So I really got the kids motivated and back into it, and then we started participating back into Unity, and then I ran for the executive committee as the Northeast area rep. Before there was male members at large and female members at large, but we wanted equal representation, so we changed the constitution to the area representatives. So we made history by becoming the first executive committee to have that equal representation. Sarah Scott was also on the executive committee back in 2012, I believe. In Phoenix, Arizona, we got elected. And then after that, I ran for co-president. I didn't get it. And then I ran the following year and was victorious, and now representing Unity with Sarah Scott.
Okay. And another kind of a fun aspect to me was that you did get to meet people from other tribal nations. You did get to be introduced to other cultures, to other regions, to other dances, to other languages, so that you really get a good mix at Unity, and that's what I really like about it. And so, tell me a little bit about what you thought about when you first maybe went to the national conference and you started meeting young people from other tribes. What was that like?
It was pretty amazing because, they're all leaders and they're just like ourselves, stepping up in their communities and wanting to make a change in their communities and stuff like that. So we're all going to be future leaders. So it's great to build that connection now when we're younger versus, older. Like here at NCAI, I feel like if a lot of them have done what we have done, Indian Nation would be, probably a lot stronger and stuff like that. And we still have the cultural exchange, and it's cool because you get to see like some parts of the Apache's coming of age ceremony or things like this, and it really opens up the kids' eyes to see, we're all kind of unique in our own ways, but we still have our very own different things and cultural customs and things. And
you get to hear those northern drums and those southern drums. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I know, and even now, I can walk throughout NCAI and say, oh, that person used to be from Unity. When I was, that person, I remember that person worked with Unity or was part of Unity. And so you are building a network that's going to last a lifetime. So really appreciate it, Brian. Thank you very much. And before you go, though, I forgot to ask you, tell us a little bit more about Mashpee Wampanoag.
Mashpee Wampanoags. The Mashpee Wampanoags were the ones that greeted the Pilgrims.
It was you guys that led me.
Yeah, that was us.
That's not the first time you heard that. Okay,
but,
go ahead.
Yeah, that was our tribe. We had about 69 villages back in the 1600s, and now we're down to 3 villages today. Mashpee is the largest. We have about roughly 3,000 tribal members. The second is the Wampanoags in Martha's Vineyard, and then the third is the Herring Pond Wampanoags. And we're still here, so I'm doing what I'm doing.
All right, Brian.
And
Thanks
his
again.
granddad was a master chef.
Grandfather was a master chef?
Yeah.
My great uncle.
Oh, great uncle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Film of it. We did his cookbook.
Did you?
All right.